What's up, everyone? It's Ox Fibonacci, and got a really fun video I'm excited to share with you guys. Black Friday is obviously a really important time of the year for traders to take advantage of all the great deals going on with prop firms, trading software, etc. So I wanted to pull this video together for you guys to kind of walk through a bunch of different futures prop firms, CFD crypto prop firms, kind of comparing them, going over the deals, and also trading software for you guys so you can take advantage of all this. So I do want to preface this. I'm going to go over a lot of different prop firms, but my two biggest pieces of advice for you guys if you are using prop firms is, number one, you really need to have like proof of concept before you go crazy like getting huge accounts or multiple accounts. Otherwise you're probably just wasting your money. So the best thing I would recommend personally is until you have a funded account and a payout, like, don't get a ton of accounts or a lot of accounts. So if you've already done that and you've got proof of concept, then yeah, this is great to get multiple accounts, get larger accounts, try and start scaling while there's heavy discounts. But if you're kind of starting out, I really recommend sticking with just a single account, to start small. Make sure you build that proof of concept, and otherwise you're probably just gonna be blowing a lot of money, and we don't want to see that. So that's kind of piece of advice number one. And number two is I highly recommend trading prop firms like you're going to trade the funded account for long term. A really big problem is people, will treat these challenges like kind of the slot machine, and they'll keep buying them and trying to trade them aggressively, and maybe you will pass a challenge or two, but if you trade the challenge aggressively without really good risk management, you're not going to last very long with the funded. So I highly recommend trading the challenge similar to how you'll trade the funded. I posted a video on risk management a little while back that you guys can review as well. But yeah, those are my two biggest pieces of advice. And with that, let's kind of dive into it. So I'm going to be sharing a link to this file for you guys as well. But basically what I've done here is kind of outline, I think, 4 futures prop firms as well as CFD and crypto ones. So we'll start with futures to begin with. For those of you that aren't that familiar with futures prop firms, these are kind of the main ones in the game, and generally they will come with kind of a monthly cost. They're generally cheaper than CFD prop firms, and for most of them it's a kind of cheaper monthly cost, and then there's a larger activation fee once you pass the challenge. So that differs a little bit from CFDs. So I put kind of all of these on here. There's obviously a lot of different options, different account sizes and things like that, and with futures it's really 50k accounts are kind of the gold standard. For futures accounts, you'll kind of see as you get larger accounts, you generally have to make more profits and you get less drawdown, so they're kind of harder challenges to pass. And for almost all of them, the nice thing is once you get the funded account, after you get past about 4%, maybe 3-4% on them, the drawdown switches to static. So even if you're only trading a 50k account, you can like build a profit buffer and like kind of just build them up as if you were trading a larger account. So with futures, it's not as important to get like the most potential capital as possible. It's actually smarter to stick with these 50k accounts because, for example, pretty much all of them you got to make about 6%. Trade days got slightly lower, and then you've got about 4%. Like again, slight variations, but about 4%. And then if you get the larger accounts, you got to make more and you have less drawdowns. So they're just harder and they're more expensive, obviously. So I really recommend kind of sticking to these 50Ks. So Top Step we'll kind of go through real quick. It's kind of the FTMO if you're CFD. Top Step's kind of the best, or I guess most well known and best reputation prop firm for futures. The reason I included the 150k in here as well is because they've really been pushing their kind of proprietary Top Step X platform, which allows you to scale micros. So you can go up to 5 lots, 5. I said put lots in here. I meant to say minis. So 5 minis or 50, you can do 50 micros, but it only is on Top Step X. So if you want to trade on NinjaTrader or another platform outside of Top Step X, you might want to consider the kind of larger accounts, maybe 150k, because then you can actually trade 15 micros and macros, or sorry, minis and micros, the terminology. So if you are trading Top Step X, then yeah, the 50k is probably the way to go. But if you want to trade something else, then maybe consider the others. And I did just want to mention their Trade isn't compatible with NinjaTrader, so you got to make sure and select the NinjaTrader option if you want to trade that one through NinjaTrader. Pretty much all of these across the board, like I said, the drawdown and the max daily, a couple of them have a max daily loss. This my funded futures, it's like a soft breach. If you hit this daily limit, it'll kind of close your account for the day, but that's it. And again, I included kind of a couple options for my funded futures. They do have a discount going for the starter plus, but to be honest, I would personally recommend this starter account. There's not a promotion, but you'll see down here at the bottom, it's actually $10 cheaper, and you can get 3 of these accounts versus this promotion only works for 1 account on this starter plus. I'll just go through a couple of these differences real quick while I'm talking about it. So couple differences here. The consistency rule, so a lot of these will have consistency rules on futures where you basically can't pass the whole challenge in one day essentially. So no more than 40% of the profits can come from one day, and this is applies to once you're funded. And I guess the starter plus is it applies to the challenge, so you can't pass the challenge in one day. You have to at least do 2 or 3 days. And yeah, there's some of them have the consistency rule applying to the challenge versus funded, so kind of pick your poison. But regardless, if you're trading for the long term, like you should have consistent base hits versus huge home run days anyways. So the consistency rules aren't really a huge deal in my opinion, as long as you're trading consistently. I did want to mention, let me finish going through these differences for my funded futures real quick. So another issue, or I guess difference, is if there's news trading, if that's a huge thing for you, the starter plus might be better. I think you can't like open or close a trade within 2 minutes for their other starter plan. And yeah, they don't have the daily loss limit soft breach for the starter plus, so a couple differences there, but personally I think the starter one's honestly fine. It's gonna be cheaper if you're getting 3 up to, you can get up to 3 accounts with them. Top Step you can get up to 5 accounts, Trade Days just a single account, and Apex you can get up to 20 accounts. I'll talk about them a little bit more. And yeah, like I mentioned back here, a couple kind of things to note. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the drawdown. So most of them are kind of end of day, whatever your account balance is, and at the end of the day, that's kind of where your drawdown will kind of fluctuate a little bit. And I'm gonna actually draw this so you guys can see what I'm talking about, because I want to compare Apex with, let me just go to the S&P, so I've got a kind of blank chart. SPX. Alright, so I'm just going to get a blank chart here so I can kind of draw this for you guys. So most accounts, as you kind of grow them up, at the end of the day, say, I'll just put kind of some vertical lines here, say like these are kind of your ends of day closes right here, just kind of on the chart here. For most accounts, you'll have kind of a fixed drawdown right here. Sorry, I'll draw that a little bit. Your drawdown will be kind of at this point, and then at the end of the day, it'll bump up here, so kind of follow you there. And then it looks like you actually lost a little bit there. So your drawdown will kind of stay flat basically through this day, because it's based on your high water mark. And then as you go up, say this is the next day, it'll kind of bump up a little bit more for your next. So this is kind of the end of day trailing drawdown that you'll see on most accounts. As you kind of slowly grow the account, it'll kind of follow you up over time. Apex has intraday trailing drawdown, which is a little more challenging, and I'll explain that real quick with kind of example right here. Say that you're taking, let's say like a 4-hour trade, and you want to shoot for 4-hour, and maybe the price enters here, you get a nice reaction initially, and then maybe it doesn't quite get to your profit target and ends up being a loss, but you might have closed a break even. So for pretty much all of the other futures accounts, a break-even trade doesn't impact your drawdown whatsoever. But for Apex, if you're at your high water mark, you got up to almost 3R in this case, and so your drawdown will actually increase based on kind of the highest watermark you got during the day. But a common misconception, people think this applies to every single trade. It's only when you're kind of at the, I guess, max high water limit. So it only really applies when you're at your high water limit. Otherwise, it's pretty much end of day, similar to the others, because you're just kind of building back up to that. So I've mentioned in a couple places the best way if you are trading Apex is just give yourself a little more buffer with risk per trade. Maybe you're doing $200 risk per trade for kind of these other ones, and maybe do like $150 per trade for Apex, so you have a little bit of buffer. If you kind of get 3R in the hole from one of these trades at your high watermark, then it won't really mess you up from the others. But I did just want to mention that because it is a little bit unique. But again, the really nice thing with futures is once you get over like it's pretty much 52K across the board, maybe a little bit more for a few of them, but the drawdown switches from trailing to static at that point for all of them on your funded accounts. So at that point, you can build profit buffer, start scaling, or just not have to worry about the intraday trailing drawdown. And then there's a couple kind of unique rules I did want to mention. So my funded futures, they have a rule that you have to trade every 7 days, otherwise it's inactive. So that's something you need to be aware of. And then for Apex, you can't lose more than 30% of your max drawdown or profit buffer. And the risk for reward has to be over 0.2, so you can't be like going for these tiny little moves every single trade, and you can't risk more than basically 30% of your profit buffer in a single trade. So just a couple rules to be aware of there, but otherwise that's pretty much it. Like you can, like I said, if you want to really go nuts with these, you can obviously get a couple different accounts. If you wanted to if you were starting out with a single account, I guess if the 7-day rule is an issue for you, then potentially a Top Step account, or Apex actually doesn't have a promotion right now. So I've got these highlighted. They might run one Cyber Monday, but their best discounts are typically like 80-90% off, so there's not really a point to buy them until those go live. But as of right now, they don't have one currently. And then, Top Step pretty much never does those promotions. My Funded Futures has this discount for a Starter Plus, but it only applies for like a single use, and the starter is actually cheaper even without the discount. And then Trade Day, you can only get a single account, but 60% off, and pretty comparable with Top Step's 50K pricing. So these are all pretty solid firms. They've been around for a while, and should be good for you guys to use. So hopefully this is helpful to see kind of some comparisons. Like I said, Trade Day has slightly better profit target. This My Funded Futures has slightly better drawdown than some of the others. So you can kind of look at those. Looking at CFDs, so FTMO is kind of similar to the Top Step for CFDs. Generally with them, you'll pay kind of a one-time fee. There's no activation fee or anything or any monthly recurring, but they are a lot more expensive relative to kind of what you might pay on the future side. I've got kind of some leverage comparisons on here. So FTMO, you might be able to get a little bit more leverage, but all three of these CFD firms have kind of survived the kind of regulations and issues that we saw early in 2024. So these are ones that have kind of stayed around and have done a decent job. I do think MT5 is still kind of the primary platform for a lot of these, but some of them have started offering others if you prefer as well. Most of them generally have kind of two. If you're trading like a two-step challenge, you've got kind of typically like a 10% target for the first one, 5% for the second. E8 is a little unique in that you can actually customize what the profit targets are, but it does impact your drawdown. So that's kind of unique with them. Most of them, I guess, FTMO is equity-based. My Funded FX and E8 are balance-based, so balance end of day. If you're holding trades kind of longer periods of time, that could impact you. And then you can upgrade the payout percentage if you want. Kind of trying to think what else is in here. My Funded FX does have a consistency rule that the others do not seem to have that. And there's a couple pretty good promotions going off. Only 10% on FTMO, but 20% and a BOGO account for My Funded FX if you pass the account. So that's a really great promotion. If you want to try and get quite a bit of allocation, you can get that account, and if you pass it, you get another one for free. And then there's a couple of promotions. I think if it's your first purchase with E8, you can use E8 Path to get 20% off. Otherwise, 8% off with this E8 Days. And most of these expire pretty soon. I didn't mention in the future side. Most of these end kind of early December for the active promotions. And there may be something for Cyber Monday, but those are the ones that are active for now. But E8's one. This E8 Days promotion ends tonight, and then My Funded FX and FTMO in the next couple days. Breakout is really the only crypto prop firm that I would recommend at this point. They don't have any promotions, but they have like no rules essentially. It's pretty straightforward. The one-step plan, for example, you've got 6% is your profit is your max drawdown, and then you have a 4% daily, and you just got to hit 10% to pass the account, and then Once you're funded, the drawdown, similar to futures actually, the drawdown becomes static after you get over 10%. And there's this promotion code match that you can get a BOGO account if you pass the first try, but there's not really any way to copy accounts with Breakout. So to be honest, I think just trading a single account is probably easier anyways. And the nice thing with them is they use Bybit's liquidity, so you don't have to deal with huge slippage and spreads like you would with other ones trying to trade crypto. So if you are going to trade crypto with a prop firm, I really recommend Breakout. So I have this cost per funding tab that kind of shows you just like, it's just kind of some metric I made up. Basically, it's the cost of the accounts, including activation fees, divided by how much funding it is. Just kind of gives you a visual representation of which ones are cheaper versus more. You can see for the most part the futures ones are generally cheaper, and you can kind of see kind of which ones are relatively cheaper than others if you're really just trying to like maximize the bang for your buck. And then I have links and codes here for different futures, the websites and the discount codes. And then yeah, last thing I wanted to go over is some trading softwares. Obviously, it's another huge part of trading that you guys kind of have to pay for. So honestly, the single best deal that I think is going on right now is with FX Replay. They have a fantastic backtesting software that I use almost every single week to really make sure you're actually learning how to trade your edge, or if you are trading an edge, gives you confidence in the data behind it. And so they have different promotions for different tiers. You can look on their website for more information. But they have a really cool deal if you get more than 2 years of their plan. They'll actually give you an entire year of TradingView Essential on top of it. So not only is it heavily discounted, but you'll also get this essential. Even with the current Black Friday TradingView discount, you can basically save another $130 almost. So that's honestly a great deal that I would definitely recommend taking advantage of. If you look at these pricing plans within TradingView, and for whatever reason, if you need one of these higher tiers, they have obviously another TradingView promotion going on now. I think this one expires tonight. The FX Replay one, I believe, goes through end of day tomorrow. So you've got a couple days to take advantage of these. And then a couple others, if you are trading multiple accounts and you want to be able to copy them, Replicanto is the one that I personally use with NinjaTrader. And it's not a Black Friday code, but I found this 20% off code you're welcome to use for that. And then similarly for MT4 and MT5, if you're trying to copy accounts across multiple prop firms or anything like that, you can use this Social Trader Tools. I don't think they have any discounts, but yeah. And then kind of the last thing, there's obviously several trading groups out there. If you want to find a community for learning from others that are trading, or just kind of look at the charts together, definitely look around, and I'm sure you'll be able to find a lot of really good groups out there as well. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful for you guys and you're able to take advantage of a lot of these deals. And yeah, I'll catch you later. Bye.